Well, I was going to review Unmasked Part 1,044,574, but I decided to stick with Part 25.
Here we go! This night, you're gonna find that nightmares do come true. We will find you. Treat or treat. This night, you're gonna find that people.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror, Year 3. This is Day 16. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. Unmasked Part 25 is a British film released by Vinegar Syndrome. I believe this is a 1988 film, but let me double check on that. It is a 1988 film, and it is directed by Anders Palm. Now, this is 100% grade A satire on slasher films, specifically Friday the 13th, as you can see from that cover, with the very Jason-esque looking mask. And it is titled Unmasked Part 25 as a spoof to how many slasher films they usually end up releasing in franchises such as Halloween and Friday the 13th. And this also has an alternate title of The Hand of Death. Unmasked Part 25, aka The Hand of Death, is a total satire on Jason, basically. And it is hilarious, and I absolutely loved the shit out of it. So I'm going to start off by saying that it is a fantastic release from Vinegar Syndrome, totally made up for yesterday's film, 100%. So synopsis-wise, you get this killer, big surprise, right? And the film starts right off with him picking off a bunch of people at a house party. And these people are extremely quirky. You know that this is going to be a satirical comedy right off the bat. Let me say that this film has incredible kills. I mean, this is slasher kills. This isn't like spoof slasher kills. This is straight up slasher kills. The kills, they've spent so much of their budget on the kills, for sure. They look amazing. They look as good as any of the kills in the Friday the 13th regular franchise, 100%. And for any horror fan and gore fan in slasher film, this is going to deliver on that for sure. Super, super goofy film too. Like, the kills themselves are great, but they are also played in a goofy sense too. But they are just dripping in carnage candy. It's amazing. So he's picking off these people one by one at a party, and he runs into this one girl who ends up being blind. And he meets her, and she starts talking to him and feeling his face, and they completely spoof Bride of Frankenstein with with the whole "I can't see and you can't speak," because the killer, he grunts, he's like ugh, and I was watching, I'm like, are they going to? Yeah, they did, and I had quite a chuckle on it. Yeah, totally stealing from Bride of Frankenstein there, but he meets this girl and he basically falls in love with her. So this plays out in a weird way too, where it kind of plays like a romance story between the killer and this woman, and it goes in some weird directions. Now, on one hand, this film gave me exactly what I expected from it. Like, when I discovered it and when I read about it, and I'm like, oh, this is the film for me, hands down. It gave me exactly what I expected, and it also, on the other hand, took some completely left turns and gave me some original things that I was not expecting of it. And it's basically, if it follows this killer who has killer instincts in his blood. He has like an abusive father, and he starts talking about things that happened in his childhood, like his mother dying and him being raised outside of campgrounds. You know, so he's like was raised like by animals in the forest, and like would sometimes, he even mentions sleeping with a camp counselor at one time whom was dead at the time. Yeah, dark jokes, dark jokes. And yeah, he has this killer instinct, but he has this really big heart at the same time, and he doesn't want to kill. And he kind of, towards the third act of the film too, he plays off as if he's like sick of it too, like he's just tired of killing all the time, and it starts to go in the direction of how bored he is with the kills. Because there's one instance where he's about to kill this girl in the forest, and he's just playing out like he knows everything that's going to happen, and he's like, you can scream if you want to, literally, I'm just getting bored of this. And it's like, try to run if you want to, I already know that you're going to probably get within 10 feet and then trip over some branch or something, and then I'm just going to walk over there and stab you. And he's playing all these tropes that are stereotypical to slashers. It's really funny and really well done. It's really smart. And there's a scene where he runs into these hooligans at a pub. This is a British film, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is a fully British film. He runs into these hooligans at the pub, and they start they're recognizing him, like, you're that guy from the movie. Well, I recognize you. I saw the lights down the street, mate. How are you? And, just taunting him and shit like that. It gave me everything I was looking for, and like I said, it took some other directions, and I loved every minute of it. What else did I put down here? With this girl, she ends up being an extreme nymph, and there's a whole BDSM scene with Jackson, his name is. I forgot to mention that too. The killer's name is Jackson. And he's so uncomfortable doing this BDSM scene, and she's all into it, and it's just, it's hilarious. It's I wasn't expecting it, I wasn't expecting that, but it was funny as hell. Oh, and the score is really good too. So there's a lot of songs of its time, kind of electro funk stuff going on, but there's also every once in a while really good organ music, and there's a really big organ score that they utilize really well in it. And yeah, everything fits, and it's super entertaining. It's hilarious throughout. It gives you everything with the gore and the blood and the killer-esque all throughout, and it is low budget, hands down, and you can tell that it was made on a budget, but milked that budget perfectly and utilized it very well, and made something really entertaining out of the budget. It almost feels like something a student made, and made really well, and then kind of got lost and refound. And that's another thing I have to mention about Vinegar Syndromes. They constantly release titles that if it wasn't for them, I would have never even heard of. They just find these films that have been lost or went under the radar, or nobody's ever really talked about outside of underground festivals and stuff like that, and totally revamp them and give them a light which they deserve. And I love that. I love that about Vinegar Syndrome, because it would be a shame if I had never heard of something like this, because this film is so beautifully campy and so entertaining that it needs to be seen as a fan. So I'm going to come in with this one at 89 out of 100. Why out of 100? Because I hate decimals. And it definitely deserves a whopping good 89 out of 100. So that is my review for day 16. And tomorrow tomorrow and the next day I've actually got some more low budget stuff that I actually found for really cheap and kind of blind bought. So, not everything, but everything I haven't seen. But some of the titles that I picked up, I completely just blind bought them. I found them. They were uber cheap, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna stick that in the pile. So yeah, until next review, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Morgan Film Fan and come again, and I will be back for more. Cheers.